disappointed them. Got another goal since taking 3 early goals very, very quickly. The possession that they have had.
I know the coach wasn't too happy with just that one goal in the opening game against Nepal, who just really sat back and invited Japanese pressure, and Japan never really got out of first gear in that game.
They got the early goal in that game, didn't they, as well? And again, as you said, just didn't quite capitalise on that stubborn Nepal defence.
Yeah, 7th minute lead, you would probably have expected them to go on and take the game to Nepal, another one of the low-ranked teams in the competition. Spirit around in their team though. They'll take on Vietnam later in the group. Of course, a Vietnam win would also see them through into the next round. All the third place teams, by the way, go into a sort of league table, and then the teams that have the 4 best records from the group stages will go through.
It's a big gap just on the edge of the 6-yard box. You make a run across that penalty spot, the delivery's right. Could get a good header. Iceland to just come out a little bit more.
Good header away by Saddam Hussein. Jima, long way off his line here. Everybody back behind the ball for Pakistan. Sure what that was, nothing for another corner. Kamia. Shot flicking off the defender.
That almost gone in. He'd already gone the other way. Sometimes happens.
Good delivery. Saqib getting up above his central defender Hassan to punch the ball clear. Good work rate from Japan. Nakayama winning the ball back.
They've done that brilliantly. You give credit to them that every time that Pakistan have got the ball, 3-0 up still, they've got that work rate and desire to try and win the ball back as quickly as possible. It changes. You'd expect the freshness in Japan to be like that when they haven't got the ball.
Tate. Rios has just nicked that one away from Nakayama. Recovered well there. Ominami. Itakura. Changing formation has worked well for Japan as well. That 3 at the back just gives you that extra width through midfield as well. It does mean that those wide players have to work to get back, but it just stretches things through midfield as well.
It gives them good options, especially when you're not being pressed, and when you get into Pakistan's half. What they do have, they play essentially, but then they also have the massive width with the full-backs or the wing-backs in particular going forward. The 3 centre-halves are not really marking anybody. Mansour is the lone striker there, but I think it's really clever what he's done.
Endo, 3 in the centre, nicely pulled back. It's Tate, can't get the shot in. Still they've got a shooting chance. Great finish, Iwasaki's 2nd goal of the game. Pakistan looked as if they may have snuffed out the danger, but there is no stopping Iwasaki today. 2nd goal of the game. Saqib beat for a 4th time. It's 4-0 to Japan.
Well, it's the goal of the day for me so far. Just the finish, the awareness, the cutback. Just watch his feet moving here. 2 very quick touches. That sets up the strike on goal. Just that 2nd touch is so delicate. And it's just a quick shot. Not much of a back lift. So the ball was already in the net before. Saqib was already diving. 2 very quick touches here. Brilliant touches going away from goal as well.
So Iwasaki gets his 2nd goal of the game, 2nd goal of the tournament. It really has been a one-sided first half. Just one shot from Pakistan, a free kick from Saddam Hussein that was well over the top. Itakura. Nami. The top for Iwasaki, who's on a hat-trick now. Pakistan have got the SAFF Cup next month, which they were using this as some preparation for. They're in a group with Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. They'll play Nepal here in their final group game in 3 days' time. It's slightly bizarre, isn't it? You lose your 2 opening games, and even you could still win your 3rd game and still go through as one of the best 3rd-place teams. It's quite a strange format when they have the best 3rd-place teams going through. It's quite possible that a team with no points could go through.
I know. And when you look at the discipline side of the fort, if you keep your noses clean, less yellow cards and red cards, you can actually go through to the knockout stage.
Kojima just sorting out his defenders. Mansour with the free kick, but never going to test the goalkeeper from that sort of range. Wasted, really.
I don't know what's been said before this tournament. I've seen so many free kicks from that range where people are shooting. It is just baffling. Even Cristiano Ronaldo would struggle from that distance to score from there.
Omanami. Itakura marshalled thing well at the back for Japan in this first half so far. 7.5 minutes to go to half-time. Endo. Right in the challenge as well. Not the one of Saddam Hussein, though. Shaq. Went back by Maeda. Anywhere will do for Pakistan just to get the ball away from danger. Omanami. Itakura. Too much pace on the ball down the line. They've tried that a couple of times now, just trying to get Naganuma down that far side. Just overhit slightly that time.
Yeah, more Naganuma down the right-hand side, getting high and wide, where Endo on the left-hand side is not actually making as higher runs. He's actually just dropping a little bit shorter, looking to come inside on his right foot. Play a ball in like he did 5 minutes ago. Was that gold medal in 2010 at the Asian Games. Japan won the AFC Under-23 Championships 2 years ago. Bodes well for Japanese football. Quite a few nations starting to come through. Of course, we've seen it in Europe with Belgium over the last few years, starting to bring good young players through. It's also happening in Asia. Nations naturally very strong. No Iraq in this year's competition. They were forced to pull out almost on the eve of the tournament. Iran, though, have got a good squad of players this year. Better looking ball in from Mansour, but no one in the centre. Only Riaz, but nowhere near the cross.
We were happy to get the ball out wide. You put a quality ball in like that, you only got one to aim for. So it has to be the perfect ball. She's now out of position a little bit.
Naganuma. Lovely ball, Maeda! Good save, Sakib that time alive to the danger. It's another quality ball through the defence, though. Maeda was on it like a flash, but good goalkeeping that time.
Really good goalkeeping. Great run from Maeda. Brilliant centre forward run. When you make runs like that, the pass comes automatically. Give credit to the goalie. He's come out and he's made himself big very quickly. In fairness, I don't think he'd have had too much to do with the majority of the goals. I think the second one he could have probably positioned himself slightly better, but came off his line very quickly there and made a decent save. It shows Japan in the final third. If they go through the gears, move the ball quickly, get a few more chances and probably a few more goals. I love seeing this goal. Just look at the two quick touches. He knew exactly what he wanted to do before his first touch. Defended well there, just two there. Short back left. Brilliant strike. The amount of power that he got behind the ball with that short back left was superb.
But with the ball going away from him, to get the ball into that corner as well is a skill in itself, because normally you'd expect him to go the other side of the goalkeeper because of the angle.
It's a great finish. I thought fantastic finish. Great awareness as well.
Second of his goals for Iwasaki. Japan have got a corner. 3 players all in a line just on the penalty spot there. Pakistan trying to contain them. It's not a great corner. Got a second chance here, nodded out wide by Naganuma. Kamiya. Endo's throw. Itakura. Matsumoto. Drops in by Omanami. Endo. Challenged by a shot, which just left Endo down.
Been impressed with Japan is that they've never really forced it. They've had time on the ball. Sometimes you just try and force that pass every single time, and they've not done that. They've been really, really patient. When the right opportunities open up to them, they've hit them with killer passes and killer goals.
Japan will be delighted to have got points on the board, undoubtedly. And arguably their toughest game will come in their final group game against Vietnam.
Should be a good game, that one.
Could well be to decide who tops the group, depending on what happens later between Vietnam and Nepal. Here's Hatate. Kamiya. He's covered plenty of ground in that central midfield area, Kamiya, the number 17.
He's picked up second balls really well. They've gone a little bit long. Pakistan have won the header. 9 times out of 10 he's when he's picked up possession and kept possession moving.
Nakayama. Here he's again Kamiya. Itakura. Interesting to see the possession stats at half-time. Kind of pretty much control things for the opening whistle. Trying to get in on the act, but firing well over the top. I'm sure he'll be delighted with his team's performance in this first half, Moriyasu. So made those 8 changes. And looks like he has 20 players at his available to him that can all do a good job, which is unusual in football.
Yeah, it is unusual. I've seen it a couple of times now in this tournament, managers making 4 or 5 changes. I haven't seen a manager make 8 yet, but shows the belief that he's got in his squad, shows that the players that couldn't start in the first game could do a job against Pakistan. And, it's been a tough selection now for their final game against Vietnam, who starts.
2 minutes added time then at the end of the first half. It's a first half Pakistan will be looking to forget. always love to listen in on a team talk to a team that's losing 4-0 at half-time when they haven't really got a realistic chance of getting back into the game. As a coach like Nogueira, he's an experienced man, Brazilian, you know, good footballing traditions. What kind of things would you expect him to say to his team at half-time?
I've had a few myself, so I sort of what he said. You then try and play the game in the second half in sort of little quarters. You look first 15 minutes, second 15 minutes, and the third 15 minutes. Try and not concede. Can you maybe get a shot on goal? Can you maybe get a set play that maybe gets effect out from save from the goalie? But what he will try and say is, show me the desire not to be beaten by 7, 8, 9 goals. And he'll ask for the character of his players now. He knows that sometimes the ability is going to be a little bit different, that you can clearly see that Pakistan haven't got a great abundance of ability. But you're just saying, show me some character now. Let me see what you're made of. The desire to see the second half out by not conceding another 4 goals.
Quick passing again by Japan. Is there another goal in this before half-time for them? I think the worrying thing for Nogueira in this first half is that they haven't really looked like creating any chances. Their only shot came from a set piece. Yeah. And if you can't create chances, you're not going to score goals, and that's what wins football matches.
Exactly.
Chance for a regroup at half-time. I'm sure we'll see substitutions, plenty of them by both teams in the second half.
You never know, he might bring on Ahmad and Makabul, the 2 centre-forwards, just might give him an out ball, because when you're not keeping the ball in midfield, you might have to go long and just chase into the channels, because that will squeeze you up the pitch a lot more than the way that Pakistan have tried to play themselves out to the back.
I'm sure they've enjoyed the first half. First 10 minutes particularly good for Japan as the referee brings the first half to a close. It's all about Japanese dominance here. 3 early goals got them off to a fine start. Sawasaki, Hatate and Almeida, who got the third, gone close just prior to that. And then Iwasaki got his second of the game, and arguably the goal of the game so far to make it 4-0. And you certainly feel Japan now have 1 foot in the round of 16, joining Palestine. Damage limitation for Pakistan, you would feel, in the second half. Japan will certainly go in search of more goals as they look to enter the knockout stages on a high. Half-time here then in Chikarang. It's Pakistan 0, Japan 4. Welcome back to the Wibawa Mukti Stadium in West Java. It's halfway through the opening game of the day in Group D. And it's been a one-sided first 45 minutes. Japan, in a change strip of all white today, have come out and really inflicted a little bit of misery on Pakistan. 3 goals very early on, another added later on in the first half. They lead by 4 goals to 0. And it really has been a lesson in finishing from Hajime Moriyasu's side. And we talked about what Nguera, Adam Virgo alongside me, by the way, today. We talked about what Nguera might say at half-time. You know, what does, Moriyasu say? Does he say, look, I want you to go out and get more goals, you know, keep the momentum going? Or, OK, well, we've won the game, let's conserve our energy. We've got another game in 3 days' time. It's you know, a slightly awkward one. It'll be interesting to see how it does pan out.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. We've seen quite a few games now where the stronger countries have collectively a lot of goals before half-time, and they go in with a pretty safe scoreline, and then they don't really tend to add to that. It's very, very difficult to do the same again second half as what you did first half, because you have more energy. There's a different style of play when you first start, but I think you'd be just saying, just keep doing what you're doing, keep the same things of what you're up to. And if the goals do come, great. If not, don't give away a sloppy goal, which I don't think they will do. Don't give away silly free kicks and maybe pick up a needless yellow card. And just maybe reserve the energy. Nothing's going to happen for the last 20 minutes.
Referee gets us underway then for the second half. It's Japan all in white, kicking from left to right in the second 45 minutes, leading by 4 goals to 0, as we say. And very much on the verge of booking their place in the next stage of the competition. Vietnam against Nepal comes later. If Vietnam win, they also will go through. But potentially Pakistan or Nepal, if they could win their final game against each other, if there's a positive result in that game, they could still find themselves one of those sides going through as one of the best third-place teams. Long way to go, though. It's Nakayama. Tate. Squads in the tournament, Japan. 8 of their players in the starting lineup born in 1997, 3 in 1998. But they're belying those years at the moment against the Pakistan side that does contain a couple of overage players. Saddam Hussein, the captain, being one of them. We've seen some quite high-profile players in this tournament. Son from South Korea, the Tottenham midfielder, is probably the highest profile of the overage players at this Asian Games. It's the last Olympics, Neymar led Brazil to victory after the disappointment of the 2014 World Cup. But Japan opting to stay with their youngsters with those Olympic Games in mind in 2020. They just missed out on a medal in London 2012, finished in 4th place. Beaten by South Korea in the bronze medal match. They have gone with the same coach for Olympic and World Cup squads before. Some 20 years ago, the Frenchman Philippe Trizier was entrusted with trying to get Japan success in major tournaments. To reach the quarter-finals in the 2000 Olympics under Trizier and the round of 16 in the 2002 World Cup. And they co-hosted, of course, with South Korea, who had such a wonderful tournament under Gus Hiddink. Kamiya. Nakayama. Saki, a couple of goals to his name, arguably the goal of the game so far in that first half. Lovely ball stumped forward, flag stayed down. It was Naganuma that was in behind the defenders. I think the flag has now, the referee certainly given a free kick now to Pakistan.
Good positive start, getting forward. Naganuma. Wing-backs will be very, very important now in this second half. Endo on that left-hand side, Naganuma on the right-hand side. There'll be acres of width out there. Pakistan will just stay narrow and conserve the 18-yard box.
He's got a big job on his hands, Jose Antonio Nogueira. Just a handful of teams below Pakistan in the world rankings. They're 201 in the world. Mansour trying to get on the end of that long ball forward. Matsumoto. Lovely long raking ball out to Endo. Inside a corner. Quality of the Japanese passing has been exceptional so far. Endo and Naganuma getting licence to get forward, being the two wing backs. Kamiya with the corner. Delivery from those set pieces has left a little bit to be desired. Kamiya rather has taken the corners from both sides, but he's missed the first man yet, has he?
Yeah, it's not been great from set plays. I think playing a short one and then getting Pakistan out of their areas and zones will be, I think, more beneficial than just putting the ball into the box. The delivery hasn't been quite right.
And that time failing to get the ball past Hayat. Nice to see some of the younger Indonesians coming in to watch the football. 5:10 in the afternoon local time. Because you always hope, you know, the big thing with these games, be it Asian Games, Olympic Games, you always hope that you leave some kind of sporting legacy behind as well, that more people take up sports. I mean, 42 different sports, 484 events in the Asian Games and 46 member countries taking part. You know, there really is something for everybody to enjoy in these multi-sport events.
Well, it is, and I think it's important that the Games does leave a good legacy. In the end, have to see what, look at London 2012, what that left for England in terms of moving on as a country in terms of sport.
Chipped across by Naganuma, Maeda's header, good save Sakib. Wasn't much pace on the header, it was made a little bit easier for the goalkeeper because of that, but he still had to get across. Inches away from his second goal of the game.
Yeah, it was a decent ball in, it was a decent save as well, he moved his feet brilliantly. Quite a few times Naganuma's got into a good position but not really hit any real quality. Just couldn't quite get the power on the header to head it down, but take nothing away from Sakib. It was a great save from him, moved his feet really well, heads it down.
Iwasaki. 2 goals in the first half. Kamiya, Maeda again the target. Marshall that time by Hassan, who got the final touch, so another corner to Japan. You hear some great stories as well in this competition. You know, a lot of these nations are you know, not as rich as others, and players who start early on playing with balls of string or balls of straw in the street and progressing through the ranks, and really a lot of countries are dream to come and play in a big tournament and compete at the highest level, whether you're ranked 201st in the world or first in the world.
Yeah, I think sometimes, say, the lesser nations just may need one superstar to come out of it to try and pull the nation along and say, look, this is what you can get to, this is what you can do.
Can Kamiya miss out the first man this time? Better delivery. Well, the goalkeeper just lost it slightly, manages to gather it. A little bit of a mix-up there between Ali and Sakib. A bit fortunate there.
Yeah, not the most convincing punch from it. Ali just in his way, but he may have just hurt his forearm. He went into the defender.
I have to say, in the 2 games played so far, I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper go down injured more times than Sakib. I think he had treatment 4 times in the opening game. This is possibly the 3rd time the trainer's been onto him in this one. Obviously bruises easily.
Yeah.
That was the opening goal from Iwasaki. Got him behind the defenders brilliantly. 2 very good finishes from Iwasaki in this game. Maeda also getting in on the act. Iwasaki's 2nd of the game. Brilliant touch inside the penalty area. Sign of the quality in Japan's side. They played at the Toulon tournament in France, which is a very high-profile youth tournament these days, and beat Portugal, who were always one of the top-ranked European nations. Joint hosting cities for the first time in the Asian Games, Jakarta and Palembang. We're just on the outskirts of Jakarta here in West Java. 5 centres being used for the football, Palembang being one of them. It's a rare touch for Kojima and not a great one. And a rare shot from Pakistan, but again another one that fails to register on target from Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. Fairly speculative, but poor goal kick from the keeper. Doesn't really get the best connection on it, but again another shot from distance, which is pretty woeful.
Maeda. Led by Yunus. Numa with a throw. Matate. Endo. Had to pull a shack out wide, and Hassan going across to get a challenge in as well.
Certainly an area I think Japan could really capitalise on in this second half. Naganuma, Endo, 2 wing backs in particular. I think what they're doing, moving the ball, switching it very quickly. I suppose they haven't gone for a short one, because he's 3 or 4 corners now that haven't really come to nothing.
Goes to the goalkeeper last time. So Virgin have gone short. Kamiya. Hoisted long, but hoisted too long towards Itakura, the captain.
You see the goals that Japan have scored earlier, it's all because of the movement that Pakistan can't cope with. So when you hit 3 or 4 bad corners and you're standing there trying to go and win your header, if you just play it short, then Pakistan have to squeeze out, and all of a sudden you can get better movement. What they tend to do is ball watch and not mark the man. So I think Japan will do more short corners in the second half to try and create a bit more space or a different angle to get across in.
Good ball from Ashak Mansour. Challenged by Amanami. Looking for any positives really to take out of the game, Pakistan.
Well, I mentioned when you asked me just before the end of the first half, coming to the first 15 minutes of the second half, and they've been okay. That's positive. That's their second shot now. Okay, albeit once from distance it was a bit speculative. That time was a little bit more difficult.
Still not tested the goalkeeper though, Kojima. Itakura. Tate. Matsumoto. Amanami. Takura. Sun gets there ahead of Maeda. Number Takura. Kamiya. Still a good work rate by Japan. Very keen to win the ball back if they lose it inside the Pakistan half, not giving things up at the moment. Amanami. 4-0 Japan lead. Here's Maeda. Just ran it slightly too far ahead of himself. Thought that might have gone out, but referee only gives a throw. Touch was just a little bit heavy from Maeda.
A little bit heavy touch, but it was a difficult running touch to kind of make.
Another corner. Lost count of the amount of corners Japan have had in this game. Managed to really capitalise on any so far. Short to Maeda. Kamiya. Naganuma. Naganuma once again with a little bit of space to work in. Most of that diagonal ball, lovely ball as well to pick up Maeda. Touch just let him down. Hayat's able to clear the ball away, but the offside flag got up a little bit late going up on this near side, but it was a lovely angle ball from Naganuma. That Vietnam against Nepal comes up in about an hour and 40 minutes time. Second bunch of teams in Group D. So a win for Vietnam would put them through. A win for Nepal give them a chance of making it through. A better than good chance probably as well. And Vietnam would have to play Japan in their final game, which could be somewhat problematic. Interesting to see Japan's mindset if they do win this one and go through, but I was thinking if I was a coach and if I was a player, I'd want to be taking a good momentum. I wouldn't want to take my foot off the gas. I'd want to be going in with 3 wins behind me and people saying, right, these guys are one of the favourites now.
Oh, definitely. It sends a message out to the rest of the tournament. Scoring goals against weaker opposition, and we've seen other countries that, you know, really struggled to get past these, say, lesser nations with an abundance of goals.
Pakistan have got a free kick. They might have to attack this one without Arslan, I think, who's just taken a knock to the eye, so made it a little bit of treatment. Just a slight cut, I think, under his eye. Japan will be keen to keep a second clean sheet in the competition. Mansour with a free kick. It's big appeals for handball from Pakistan. It's Matsumoto that made the clearance. Let's have a look and see what was struck. It would have been a very harsh penalty if the referee had seen that as a handball. Just hit Matsumoto, didn't know anything about it. Big rows in the handball rules, of course, at the World Cup. I noticed the English Premier League have opted to be a little bit more lax in their handball decisions inside the penalty area. It's one of those, this unnatural position, and a couple of penalties given even after the referees looked at it by VAR, which you would probably say, well, you know, that's a little unfortunate, because how do you get out of the way of it?
It's a rule that's baffled me. I'm talking as an ex-player now. When you go and close the ball down, there's never intention in my mind to deliberately handball the ball if it gets crossed in. You go out to go and close it down, and you go and close the ball down, or if a cross comes in and it hits your arm and it's five yards away from you, that you can't do anything. It's different when it's going towards goal and you stick your arm out to stop it going in. To me, that is deliberate handball. But as an ex-player, very, very rarely do I see players deliberately handling the ball. An intention, say, I'm going to handball it to stop the ball going through. Very rarely it actually happens.
It's certainly an interesting one, and I'm sure one that will be contested a lot over the course of the coming seasons.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them rules that if it hits your hand, regardless if it's deliberate or not, it's a penalty. Then it kind of gets the rule out of everything of, well, was it deliberate, was it not?
Injury here to Mansour, just a touch of cramp, having burst forward and finding that shot from probably about 40 yards out. Don't want to dwell on the VAR, but just very quickly, is it something you're in favour of, or would you rather the game stick to its traditions of unpredictability?
I've probably, like you've done last season, a lot of VAR games that I was involved in. The problem is it may not just suit the game of football. When you look at maybe cricket, where it's a little bit slower, where you have time to look at it, you have Hawkeye that sometimes takes the decision out of a human's instinct, and that's the problem now, is that the referee doesn't know. You're then going up to a consortium of people now to make a decision on a human reaction, and I think goal line technology has helped. I think misidentity of a player can certainly help, but I still think there's a long way to go for VAR to work in football. You only have to look at the World Cup final, right, when that penalty was given. Half of the people say yes, half the people say no. That's where we are at the moment.
Certainly an interesting debate for the future, and of course if you implement it at a national, international level, then all the countries in the world have to adopt it, and then you have the cost of the technology itself. But no VAR here, it's purely down to the referees, who've actually done a pretty good job so far. No really contentious decisions, certainly in the games that I've seen in the tournament. Here comes Japan going in search of a fifth goal. Taken by Sakib. Good safe handling that time by the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Even in the second half now, if I was a Pakistan player, take your time with throw-ins, take your time with free kicks. If I was Sakib now, I'd keep the ball in my hands, and the referee even take a yellow card. You know what I mean? Just it might weigh down a few seconds. Fatigue is now certainly creeping in, so what you don't want to do is collect the ball and then boot it 40 yards down the field and not even relieve any pressure.
We're into the final quarter of the match. It's one thing that you notice with the high humidity here in the heat as well. A lot of cramp creeps in later stages of the game, and some of the games just tend to become a little bit scrappy at this point with sort of 20 minutes to go. That's when you tend to see the majority of your substitutions coming in.
But also what happens is, well, these are young players that start at a very, very high pace. I've never seen you know, the fitness levels continue in the second half, and you do drop off, and that's only natural for young players. That's when you go into those first teams and you have a mixture of experience as well. Then you conserve your energy, when to go, when not to go. The fact that the games have been quite one-sided for a lot of the stronger nations, you know, a lot of their energy is used up in the first half.
Nakayama, Kamiya, Itakura. Japan's still looking quite fresh at the moment. Mansour. Stabbed out by Endo. We're now going to see the first substitution. It's going to be Arslan that's going off. And Mohamed Bilal is the player that's coming on. I just took that knock in the face a moment or so ago. You can just see a little bit of swelling under his eye there. Probably why they've decided to bring off Arslan. Not rushing himself, is he? He needs the time waste. So Bilal comes on. First change made by either side. Saw just allowing the ball to run out of play. Matsumoto. Kamiya. Itakura. Kamiya. Batate. It's a slip by Ali. Good persistence by Naganuma. Batate. Good sliding challenge by Yunus to concede the corner.
Good defending there from Yunus, comes along, reads the danger well.
Once again, it's Kamiya who's taken every corner so far for Japan. Giving the ball away too often today, Japan, but when they have, they've managed to win it back fairly quickly.
One of the big things I noticed in the first half was their work rate to win the ball back quickly as possible. It's a great side of the game to have as well. It's great when you've got the ball and you're passing the ball well and you're dominating of the game, but that desire to go and win the ball back as quickly as possible when you don't have it.
So Kamiya, who's been excellent in midfield, has done his job and done his job well. It's Tariki Hara that comes on, the man from Ilbirex Niigata. Part of that squad that won the Under-16 AFC Under-19 Championships a couple of years ago. Kamiya really has been excellent. I was about to say to you, actually, if we were in the business of picking men of the match, I certainly think Kamiya, despite the fact he hasn't scored, would have been up there for his work through midfield today.
He did really well. I mentioned, I think, 35 minutes into the first half when you were talking about him. He just won the second ball. So when they did go long and Pakistan won the header, he was the first person to pick it up, and so many times that keeps pressure on teams that you can't manage to get out. More of a defender, I think. Ikakura will now go into that midfield as the holding midfielder.
There's Kojima coming a long way off his line, and Mansour being penalised for the challenge, and he's the man who's come off worst. Certainly a long way out of his goal there, Kojima.
Well, he won the ball, but Mansour was someone who just slid in. I don't quite know what he was trying to do there, sliding from that distance. If anything, it certainly is a foul on Kojima, the goalkeeper. That's twice now he's done that. He won in the first half where he was late and reckless, and this time he's done it again.
The referee's only given out the 1 yellow card so far to Hayat in the first half. Jeremy Moriyasu there on the right looking on. Be a massive boost if his side could go all the way in this competition. The 2010 winners, runners-up to Iran in 2002. Paolo Bina Obi is the substitute goalkeeper on the bench for Japan. Hasn't had a lot to do, Kojima, to be fair to him. He has done well what he's had to do. It's a heavy coming together.
Well, it is, and mentioned second half about Japan. What do you not want to do? Concede a sloppy goal, pick up sloppy yellow cards, or pick up an injury to your #1 goalie. A position he's hardly had a touch, but may end up coming off. It's an opportunity now for Obi to come on and stake a place for the team.
A lengthy treatment for these two. Kojima's back on his feet. Mansour looks like he's probably going to be okay. Still limping quite heavily, the Japanese goalkeeper. Saki's been another one of the stars of the show. Great movement.
It's a great first touch because it then takes out Hassan to come and make the challenge. All their goals today, Mark, have been of real quality, different kind of goals. This one, for me, is the pick of the bunch. As we were talking about earlier, maybe she could have gone to the right-hand side of the goal, but he doesn't. 2 quick touches, short back lift. That's great power from him to get that short back lift and taking it past Saki.
It's a great shot window as well for some of these young players. I mean, Asia, when you look at European leagues, you know, we mentioned a couple of names earlier on from Japan. It's not an area that players tend to appear in European leagues, but clearly law of averages says by the size of population that there are a lot of talented players in Asia.
Oh, there will be, and you know, South Korea got to the semi-finals 2002. Japan have made the last 16 on a couple of occasions. Yeah, the talent is there. I generally do. And as I mentioned about Shunsuke Nakamura, technically the best player I've ever played against, and I've seen Honda play at AC Milan as well. Another player, Park Ji-sung, is another player as a Manchester United. They do have their qualities. It's just a shame to see we don't. You're right. We just do not see enough of them in the big leagues, but definitely sure the talent's there.
It looks as though the Japanese goalkeeper Kojima is going to be playing no further part in the game. It will be Paolo Bina Obi that comes on. Well, I hope that's nothing too serious. I know Kojima's not had much to do, but he is the #1 goalkeeper for Japan. Let's see if Mansour can continue for Pakistan. It is the thankless job, really, isn't it, in football, isn't it, being the backup goalkeeper? Some coaches do like to rotate, but some don't.
So you see even managers at the top level in the World Cup, as we saw, they rotated their team, but kept the goalkeeper. Japan have done that today. Could have easily played Obi in goal today. I'm saying they've had too much to do, but still just a little bit of game time, feel of the ball in the match day situation.
Mansour's back on as well, by the way. Cleared away by Hassan. Very much a learning curve for these Pakistan players. Coach will be saying to them, you know, we have to respond against Nepal. It's our final game, it's our final chance to get through. Saddam Hussein. Kicked by Hatate. So as we possibly hinted, the pattern of the game here, 4 goals in the first half for Japan. They've 10 minutes left in the second half. No addition to that score. Suddenly with a wild slash at the ball, which again goes down as a shot, but nowhere near the target. Maeda looks as though Pakistan had won the ball back, but again Maeda's tenacity wins it back for his team. And Manami given away. Not really had any luck in that final third today. Pakistan, there's Adil Ali that time, trying to burst forward. With a change for Japan, it's Endo that's going off this time. And Hatsuze is the player that's coming on. That's all 3 substitutions made now by Japan. Suze Hara and the goalkeeper Obi. Into the final 10 minutes then. Japan still leading by 4 goals to 0 and going through comfortably to the round of 16. 2 wins out of 2, having opened up with a victory over Nepal. Saddam Hussein. With a tussle on the touchline, the 4th official was quick to prevent that going any further. Itakura, Nakayuma. Chase on for Hatsuze.
You were saying to me before, just before the first time, what Nagamura will be saying to Pakistan in the second half. They've come out, as I said before, the quality wasn't going to be there, but the work rate's been there. They've still worked hard when having. Honestly, when you've been 4-0 down at half time, your mind goes, and you sometimes don't even want to come out for the second half, knowing it's going to be a long, hard draw to try and get on the ball or even get in the final third. I said play the 15 minutes through the quarters, try not to concede a goal in the second half. That's a start. They're still working hard when they don't have the ball. Yes, the quality hasn't been there, and that was easily to see, but trying to look for positives, even small ones. You can take a great deal from these this part of the second half. They can get through the second half without conceding. That's something certainly to work on.
I'm sure the coaching staff will be sticking around to plot some tactics against Nepal, who play Vietnam next.
It's a game that you can go into thinking, right, can we pick up a win against Nepal? Yes, we can.
Worked its way through again towards Hatate. Just got it caught under his feet slightly. The defenders were always favoured to get that one away.
This is what we saw lots of times in the first half. Not really seen it enough in the second half. A little threaded through balls.
Hayat's clearance. Naganuma. Swinging by Iwasaki. Just too far away from Hatate. So the Asian Games opening ceremony taking place on Saturday, which will signal the full schedule of games getting underway. Or of the games getting underway. A couple of demonstration sports for the first time taking part here. Esports, which is basically electronic gaming, and canoe polo.
You're good at that, esports.
FIFA.
Yep.
It's quite a strange one. Electronic gaming.
I think it's the way the world's going now, Mark. I think especially over here, especially in Asia. I mean, they're brilliant. They are brilliant.
Yeah, I think we were talking the other day, weren't we, about some of the sports sort of specific to Asia, really. Kabaddi being one which is massive in India. Sepak takraw is always another one that people like to watch at an Asian Games as well, because of the levels of skills that are involved and, you know, the agility involved in that. Anyway, compared to Sepak takraw, football's quite straightforward. Japan are making a fairly comfortable looking job of it at the moment. Hara. Nakayama. Hara once again the substitute. Omanami. Interesting to see as well as the competition progresses. There was a mistake here which Pakistan getting themselves into all sorts of trouble, and Riaz concedes the corner. Just talking about formation, will they stick with the three at the back, or will they go back to that flat back four? The three has worked very well for them today.
Well, it has worked, and okay, the opposition hasn't been great, but they used it to good effect. They played forward and back again in their first game against Nepal. They could only get the one goal earlier on. It'll be interesting to see what he does do. 3-5-2 formation is now coming more and more into play into the modern day game. It's 4-4-2, then a 4-2-3-1, and now 3-5-2 was very popular during the World Cup.
So Japan haven't really made the most of their set pieces. Kamiya, who'd taken most of them, has gone off, so it'll be Hatsuze, his replacement, that takes this one. Good header away. Naganuma. Nakayama. Suze. Hara. Nakayama.
That's good defending.
It's Hatate the intended target, and he very nearly made contact as well.
Hey, yeah, got goal side really well. Sometimes you don't need to win the header, just put a little challenge in there. So fair play to it. Very easy just to switch off there, get cool ball watching, he gets goal side well.
Approaching the final 2 minutes of the match.
Somebody expecting a fair bit of injury time.
Substitute keeper Obi that fails to keep that one in, so it will be a Pakistan corner.
It's not bad for Japan. That's the first poor ball I've seen them play. A little bit tired. 88th minute. The 21. I think that's fair credit to their concentration. That's probably the first misplaced pass. Just for a little bit of fatigue there, but
Pakistan finally just get a shot on target.
Zaini Shak with the corner. Japan have defended it well, and there might be a chance of a break on here. Lovely play, tucked back inside by Hatate. This is Naganuma. Maeda making a forward run. Maeda gets there first, hurdles the goalkeeper. Pakistan, I think, have just about survived. It was a quick breakout by the Japanese. That's good defending in the end.
The way that Sakib's played today, I knew that the timing of his run to come out wasn't going to be there. Great little nutmeg, great little counter-attack from Naganuma. The white shirt's looking to get forward, so even at 4-0. So he's honest to stay on his feet there.
That's quite interesting. A lot of players might have been tempted just to play for the penalty and leave that leg dangling and go over.
It was the ball that I saw coming that you do see the coming-togethers of a player and a goalkeeper. Maeda, credit to him, stayed on his feet.
I don't think it's really in their makeup, Japan, to do that kind of thing, to be honest.
No.
They've always been associated very much with a good sense of fair play.
I would have gone down.
You're not Japanese. So 3 minutes added time. It has been the proverbial game of two halves, I suppose. Japan with the 4 goals in the first and much better from Pakistan in the second. They have one more chance, don't forget they play Nepal in 3 days' time. Japan, they've got their final game against Vietnam. See how Vietnam fare later when they take on Nepal. Could be the battle between the top two. That one, Palestine, don't forget, already through from Group A. The host nation, Indonesia, though, probably with a better than good chance, having won one of their games already, so they would feel they'll certainly qualify even as one of the best third-place teams, but still a couple of games to go for them in Group A. Massive crowds to see the Indonesian team in this competition.
I saw last night, they lost to Palestine. The enthusiasm's there.
The host nation won the games back in 2014, South Korea, when it was held in Incheon. Qatar also won on home soil in 2006. Hara. Nakayama. Itakura. Played forward again towards Maeda, looping header, but it's looping too high. Not sure what Sakib was doing there. He injured himself, trying to hang on the crossbar.
Real conviction in the header, decent ball through.
Had his goal in the first half, Maeda, in that quick-fire 3-goal salvo. Mansour is going off, Pakistan making a late change. We've already played the 2 minutes added time, or 2 minutes of the added time, rather. Ahmad is going to come on. Quite surprised we didn't see Makbul in the game. He had a little bit of pace in that opening game, having started up front, but coaches opted not to bring him on in this one.
One of the changes he may have done in the second half was brought Ahmad on and Makbul as well, just as a different out ball. 15-20 minutes, they kind of stayed in the game, limited to Japan for half chances, but they've just never really had a real out ball to get up the field.
Just over 3 minutes added time played by the referee. And it brings to a close a game that has seen a very industrious performance from Japan. They really had the game sewn up inside the opening 10 minutes. There was no way back for Pakistan after that. They added another goal in that first half. They were unable to find a way through in the second. A couple of goals from Iwasaki, the second of his and the fourth goal, the goal of the game. But Japan have certainly marked their card here to show that they're a team that will be very much considered as one of the favourites, you would think, for this competition now. It is a strong football competition, and they will have to be at their best, particularly in their final group game against Vietnam, but they are safely through to the round of 16. Pakistan know they have to get a result against Nepal if they're to stand any chance of making it through. Iwasaki got the opener, Hatate the second, Maeda the third, and Iwasaki with that fourth goal in the first half. It was sewn up, as we say, by half-time. So the full-time score here in Group D, the opening match of the day of the double-header, it's finished Pakistan 0, Japan